In a game world, some things are meant to move, like our player Magus, but some things should stay right where they are. Imagine finding a treasure map only for the X to move the second that you arrive. That's the danger of using a list for your map coordinates. Today, we're learning about the locked vault of Python, the tuple. I'll show you why this unchangeable structure is the secret to protecting your game's most important data and how to use it to mark the perfect X on your map. Let's dive in. Before we dive into the code, we need to understand a few things. First off, what is a tuple? Well, is that even how you say it? Is it tuple or tuple? Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Well, a tuple is an unordered sequence of items. And one of the big differences between a list and a tuple is that it is immutable or unchangeable. Now, generally speaking, in programming, whenever you're making a game or whatever kind of software you're making, you pretty much have full creative control. But unfortunately, that can come at a risk because if you don't know exactly where to use certain code structures or certain variables in certain areas, your game could be a big mess and it could be really hard to figure out where the problem is. And we use tuples to store data that can't change, or more importantly, that shouldn't change. For example, if you're starting up your game and you needed to set the screen size for your game, obviously we don't want that to change right away. Or if you're making a simple game where you just have blocks or circles bouncing off of each other or whatever, you set the certain color value for those objects and you only set them once, and you would use a tuple for that. And tuples not only are used for screen sizes or setting your color values, but also in very important ways, such as we discussed before, they could be your fixed coordinates on a map to find your treasure chest. However, in today's lessons, I'm going to be teaching you the following. First off, we're going to start with creating a tuple, nice and simple. But next, I'm going to show you how to access the items within the tuple. And I'm also going to show you how to count how many items are in the tuple, as well as unpacking each piece of data into separate variables, which is actually really useful for some use cases. So get ready, open up your idle program, and let's dive into the code. Alright, so here we are in our idle shell, and if you don't already have it open, go ahead and open it now. Now the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to create a variable, and that is going to be named screen size. Space after that, equals sign, another space, and with tuples, you can set it up in two different ways. First way is for a simple pair of parentheses. Now that's a valid empty tuple. But the other way to do it is to use the tuple keyword with a pair of those parentheses. All right, both of those are fine. You can do it either way. But for right now, we're just going to use a pair of parentheses. We'll go back inside and we will put our values in here. So I want my screen size to be 800, 600. So anytime you add more items to this tuple, you always have to have that comma after each item. Okay, now for that, hit enter, and then what we'll do, we'll access the first item in our tuple. So what we can do, we can print, give it a pair of parentheses there, and then we put the name of our tuple, which is screen size, screen underscore size in there. And just like we did with lists, we use the square brackets to index into there to get which one we want. And we want the first one, so remember the first one is always 0 steps from the beginning, so that will be number 0, and we'll hit enter on that, and it gives us 800, which is correct. And we could do the same for the 600. So we can type out print screen underscore size, square brackets, go back in there and put a 1 so we can get 600. Don't forget to close off that print statement. Hit the enter button and we get 600. Now let's say that we wanted to count the number of times that a specific item shows up in our tuple. So what we could do is just type out print. Since we're in the idle shell here, give it a pair of parentheses, and then we'll put in our tuple variable name, screen underscore size, and then put a period afterwards, and then the word count. Give that one a pair of parentheses. Go back in there, and we'll type in 800 since we know that one's in there. Go back out, hit enter, and it tells us that 800 shows up one time in our tuple. Now let's say that we wanted to count how many times an item in our tuple showed up, but that item wasn't in there. Let's say that we put in 900 instead. It would tell us that we got 0. Next, we can find the index of an item in our tuple, which it works just the same way as a list does. So we can do print, give it a pair of parentheses, go back inside, put the name of our tuple variable, screen underscore size, and then put a period and the word index, give that one a pair of parentheses, go back in that second set there, and then we're going to type out 800 to see where that one's at, and it tells us 0, which is correct. Now what you got to watch out for is if you wanted to find the index of an item that was not in the tuple, then you would get an error. So we put our 900 in there to tell us the index of that. It tells us it's not in there. And then next we can find out how many items are in our tuple, just like we did with our lists, and that works just the same way. So we type out print, give it a pair of parentheses, go inside, type out len, which stands for length, type out, give that one a pair of parentheses as well, and then you put in screen underscore size, our variable name here, and then hit enter, and it tells us there are 2 items in our tuple. Alright, next I want to show you is how to unpack our tuple. So in order to unpack our tuple, we have to have a variable that gets assigned to each item in the tuple. So to show you an example of that, we could type out width, comma, space, height, since we're working with screen size here, and then another space, an equal sign, and then we put our tuple variable name, screen underscore size there, and this line right here simply unpacks our tuple. Hit enter on that, and then we can print out width, and we're gonna go ahead and throw both of these in here, width, comma, space, height, and then it will give us 800, 600. Now a few things you got to watch out for. With the tuple being immutable or unchangeable, you cannot add things, you cannot take things away, and you cannot modify the things within the tuple. I'll show you here real quick. So let's say that I wanted to try and add something to the tuple. I would type out screen underscore size, and you can use the list version .append, or you can use .add, and neither of them will work. So we can use .append on this one, 500, and it doesn't work. We could try screen underscore size .add and try that, and that doesn't work either. And as you can see, it says it does not have any attribute append or add. Now let's say that we wanted to go in and change the width of our screen size for some weird reason. We can go in here and try to index into it, and we want to index and change the 0th item, 0 steps from the beginning. We'll say we want to increase the size by 200, so we have 1000 by 600, and that doesn't work either. It gives us an error because, as you can see, it says the tuple object does not support item assignment. Basically means you can't change it. Awesome. So now you know what a tuple is and how to use it. And now I've got a little exercise for you. All right, so here's the scenario. You're building a retro RPG, and you have a great oak tree standing in front of you. and this oak tree acts as the center of your world map. This tree should not move. You stay put. So what I want you to do is create a tuple named oak tree location and give it the coordinates 150, 450. Next, I want you to access the data by printing out only the y coordinate to the console using its index. Next, I want you to unpack and extract the values into two separate variables. Variable 1 will be tree x, variable 2 will be tree y. And finally, I want you to try to change the tree x value to 200 by modifying the tuple directly. Don't modify the tree x variable that you just unpacked, but try modifying the tree x value within the tuple itself. And write down in the comments of what error Python gives you whenever you do this. You can also check out the pinned comment down below or within the description to see this exercise as well. And so to recap in this video, we learned what a tuple is, that it is an unordered sequence of items. We also learned that it's immutable, or meaning that you cannot change it, you cannot add to it, you cannot remove from it, and you cannot modify the things within it. We learned that a tuple is set up with the parentheses, or the tuple keyword. And we also went over a few examples of how tuples are used in games, such as setting your screen size or setting a color for an object. And we also demonstrated creating a tuple, accessing the items within the tuple, unpacking the values within the tuple into separate values, counting how many items are in our tuple, and also finding the index of a specific value within our tuple. So if you have any questions or you just want to say, hey, leave a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And also, if you're feeling nice and generous, let me know what you think about my haircut. Just had it done not too long ago. And stay tuned for the next video in this series, where we will learn how to manage game states using sets. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.